And we continue to worry about our loved ones in Israel, which is a place in which our identity and even our sense of self is so closely intertwined. The impact did not end on October 7th. We are continuing to see news stories of violence that come out of Israel and Gaza. And we have anger, we have fear, we have anxiety as we think about what's happened, what is happening, and what we worry that is still to come. And some of us may even be asking, how do we talk to our children? How do we get through our days? What does this mean for me as an American Jew? What about our college-age students where there's so much strife on campuses? How do we talk to our young adults who we don't have daily contact with in other communities? Our hearts and souls are heavy. Added to this is the awareness that anti-Semitism and Islamophobia have been on the rise for years in the United States. Now, I will echo what Stuart Lowry, the regional security advisor from SCN and the Federation, would remind us all that in Louisville there have been no threats of violence against Jews. There have been no anti-Semitic threats in the last 2 weeks. But that is not true nationwide, where threats against Jewish-facing organizations has tripled. Despite this, I'll remind you all that Jewish Family and Career Services, which has been in existence for 115 years, believes in a world where all are treated with dignity and respect, and we serve our community regardless of religious affiliation or cultural heritage. In the face of the current crisis and violence, we'll continue to do so, but we are especially here for the Jewish community. As you all know, trauma can create a cycle. It leads to isolation, it can lead to increased anger, fear, rage, and it can feed on itself. JFCS is promoting programs so that we can all break that cycle. This is a time, and I urge you as a Temple community to rely on your community, and by community here I mean both your Jewish community and your non-Jewish community, because that is part of how we fight anti-Semitism, is by communicating with those around us. In the interest of breaking that cycle, JFCS has some programs available. We have no-cost individual sessions, we have support groups, and we have some educational programming that we've already been doing over the last 2 weeks and will continue to do in the community. The Temple has a website with a resource page that has information, and actually, Rabbi, I haven't talked to you, but particularly the Union of Reform Judaism, I thought, because I'm simple and I like simple and straightforward instruction, I think is quite good. In addition to that, JFCS has some resources on its website as well, including information from the American Psychological Association, the National Association of School Psychologists, and the American Academy of Psychiatry. So all that being said, I don't want to leave tonight without being a psychologist and taking this opportunity to talk a little bit about kind of how we take care of each other and ourselves. It's important to be aware of how you're feeling and how you're doing. We all have children. Some of us have grandchildren. Some of us have parents that we take care of. It's hard to take care of others when we ourselves are not regulated and not calm. So it's important to take care of yourself. It's important to keep to your routine, again, for yourself, but also for your children. When children have a break in their routine, those are the things that make them anxious. So it's important to keep that routine. Social media in a situation like this is something that you need to be cautious about. You need to limit social media for your younger children, and you need to have conversations with your older adolescents about what social media they're accessing. When talking with children, I encourage you to let your children lead the conversation. Not something that we as parents are good at. We like to tell our kids how to live their lives. Not that that's ever worked for me, but we need to let our children lead the conversation. Simply that allows them to have control so that we don't overwhelm them. Because the most important thing is that our children feel safe physically and safe emotionally. And all those pieces lead to that. Now, as some of you know, we have decided to cancel the Lillian O. Seligman Contemporary Thought Forum, Night of Jewish Humor, which was scheduled for Monday night here at the Temple. Rabbi, I want to point out to you that I did listen to your sermon last Friday. I do pay attention and I do honor your brother's opinion. And I think that after all, we are Jewish and we believe in humor. But at the same time, we believe this was not the time for this event, and we will have that event later on. But it is important to have breaks from what's happening. It's important to put down the media and invest in your family, invest in your loved ones, and be willing to have that sense of humor that you and I know is so important. For those of you who are asking, what can I do? I'll remind you that places like the Temple website, the Federation website have places where you can make donations. JFCS is always welcome to volunteers as we serve, again, the entire Louisville community. And I have flyers that I've left in the lobby that outline what our counseling services are for the current situation. But in addition to that, there's a flyer where you can let us know if there's a support group with a particular interest that you have. If it's talking to younger children, talking to older adults, talking to teenagers, or how you talk to your college-age students. There's information out there on the flyer. Please feel free to fill it out during the ONIG, and I'll pick them up after the ONIG and be happy to provide those services for you. So with that said, again, Shabbat Shalom, and then we have peace in Israel and in our lives. Thank you.
Our opening song is on the sheets in the handouts that you have. Nachamu ineni matov. Ine matov.
These words from Isaiah, one of the great prophets who cried out, comfort us in our wilderness, comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another, comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, nachamu, ami yomar Eloheichem. Nachamu, nachamu, ami yomar Eloheichem. Nachamu, nachamu, ami yomar Eloheichem. Nachamu, nachamu, ani yomar Eloheichem. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in
I would like to invite David and Max Fink to lead us with the blessings over the candles and the fruit of the vine. We turn to page 2 for the blessing over the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'tzatah tivanu, ha'liknir shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
We turn to page 5 for the blessing over the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, of English, praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
And I believe we have 4th graders that came here to receive a blessing. Is that correct? If we can have them here, come to the bima, please. Wow, 3. Thank God I have enough chocolate here
And they're all so tall.
for you. That's for you. And we say to you, before you go and taste the chocolate, הרחמן הוא יחדש עליכם את החודש הזה ואת השנה הזאת לטובה ולברכה. May the merciful one renew this month and this year for you for goodness and blessing. And we say to you, may you always find that your life is filled with health and happiness, kindness and peace, growth and learning. And we all say together, Amen.
Amen.
And we turn again to our handouts for the prayers for the Israeli soldiers, for Israel soldiers, and for the state of Israel. Please join me as we say together, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless the soldiers of Israel's Defense Forces, and everyone who stands guard in order to protect our people. May the Holy One, blessed be God, protect them and save them from all troubles and afflictions, from all sickness and injury, and send blessing to all their endeavors. May the words of the prophets come to fruition through them, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And each one shall sit under the vine and under the fig tree, and none shall be afraid. And let us say, Amen. And let us say together the prayer for the state of Israel. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace.
Send your lights and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And let us say, Amen.
Please rise as we turn to page 28 for the Berlow. Turn now to page 34 for the calling of the Shema.
Shema And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
And we turn to page 44 to sing together V'shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, מרית עולם, מרית עולם. ושמרו, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
We rise as we turn to page 46 for the tefillah.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
And we read together on page 50. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You cause the wind to shift and the rain to fall. You
Sustain life through love, giving life to all.
Through
Great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust.
Who is like you, source of mighty acts?
Who resembles you, sovereign, who takes and gives life,
causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving
giving life to all. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol.
And we turn to page 52 and we read together. You are holy, your
Your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day.
Blessed
are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Hakadosh.
Please be seated as we turn to page 61 and we read together the prayer for shalom, for peace and wellness and wholeness. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, or eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within our borders. health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land.
Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, v'shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol ed u'b'chol shah b'shalom lecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam.
We take a moment for a silent prayer. On page 253, we find the words for the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing and strength and courage to everyone that we know that needs healing and strength and courage. As we name in our hearts those we know that need healing and strength and courage, we think especially about our sisters and brothers in the land of Israel, the families of more than 1,300 Israelis that were murdered by terror of Hamas, about 203 that were captured and taken to Gaza as hostages, about their families, about those who are still fighting for their lives in hospitals, and the citizens in Gaza, the innocent ones that are being used as a human shield in this war. And we sing together the Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikol before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mikor habracha la'olteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
2 weeks ago, as we were celebrating the holiday, the festival of Simchat Torah and Shabbat, the festival of the joy of the Torah, our day of celebration turned into a day of sorrow. When we read a week later the story of creation, we were searching for light in the darkness of the chaos. And now we read the story of Noah. We are hoping for a sign that the great flood is about to end, that the dove of peace is about to come, and the covenant of the rainbow will win over evil. This is a time of intense pain and suffering, grief and uncertainty, and fear for our beloved Israel, our families and friends in Israel, and for Israeli society as a whole. As in every Jewish community around the world, our community is experiencing the horror of murder and abduction of people we might know, friends, family members who happen to be living next to the Gaza border. Many of us feel fear and pride for family members or friends who are serving in the Israeli Defense Forces, sorrow for the enormity of loss of innocent life, and dread for what is yet to come. As a community, we are working to maintain solidarity and resilience, to assist our own members in handling their fear and anguish. We ask our members at this time to extend from our own resources to help those outside our community, especially the families of those relocated from the southern and the northern war zones in Israel, soldiers in need, and many more. Our Torah portion is about destruction and renewal and survivals. It begins with 3 verses that explain why did God decide to destroy the world. The first verse says something that the third verse is going to echo. The earth became corrupt before God. The earth was filled with Hamas. Actually, that is the biblical word that is used there twice, Hamas. Hamas appears 3 times in the book of Genesis, and we tend to think, mainly because of its third appearance, that it's something that shows murder and hate and violence and fear. The earth is filled with Hamas, so God decides to eliminate everyone that is in this world. The earth cannot stand, in the biblical story, the heavy weight of Hamas in it. It spews Hamas, and the flood comes and cleans the earth from the pure evil which is presented by this phenomena, Hamas. This is one of the times that you read the Torah, and actually during those 2 weeks, each Torah portion almost hit you in the guts because it was so relevant to what we are experiencing and feeling. Unfortunately, this Torah portion is more of a fantasy than something real that can happen to us. It's a fantasy of maybe many that some force outside of us will eliminate everything that is bad in the world, will eliminate the pure evil in the world. But actually the lesson of this story is that in real life, it's exactly the opposite. Humanity stands to carry the burden. Humanity has to deal with Hamas that is filling the earth, with pure evil that is filling the earth. And we should remember, as we read the story of Noah, and maybe that is why in our children libraries and when we go to a children doctor, we see pictures of the rainbow and the Noah's Ark. I never understood it, it's only in America, because it's actually a horrible story about God destroying the world. But actually, it's also a story about survival and rebuilding. It's a story about saving the life of Noah and his family, but not only Noah and his family, also the animals, the pure and the impure animals alike are part of the rebirth of the world. And they all realize that they have one united mission to rebuild the world. They need solidarity, they need patience, they need friendship, and they need a real dedication to a joint mission, to a world without Hamas, a world without pure evil that murders women and children and babies and elderly, and then puts the horrific ways that it used to torture people before it murdered them on social media proudly, because they're proud at their pure evil and they want to spread terror and fear all around. They want to destroy the state of Israel only because it's a Jewish state. And we need to dedicate ourselves to a repaired world, to a transferred world where we can all live in peace without Hamas. Carol here and I have a joint friend. My joint friend in Israel, her name is, our joint friend in Israel, Sharona Ekutiel. She's the best friend, she's the best person I ever met in my life. If ever there will be, and it won't be, a flood again, she's the one that God will choose to save. I have never met someone that makes me feel so inferior because she's such a righteous person. I speak to her daily when she has time. She's with dozens and dozens of volunteers with Israelis that were evacuated from the southern region, Israelis that had to go through a day and a second day and a third day where terror was knocking on their doors, Israelis that lost members of their families, Israelis that some of their families are missing and they're hoping that they're in Gaza and not dead. And she listens to the stories, and she told me that she goes back to bed and all she does, she cries, she cannot sleep. But at the same time she remembers what her son, who is in an elite unit in the army, and I already quoted him before, her son Asaf wrote to her. He is fighting Hamas right now, and he wrote her the following words: "It will be okay." Israelis always say that, "Yeh beseder," it will be okay. Unequivocally, it will be okay, even if it looks dark tonight. And I want to share something else. I wasn't going to share it, but because of David, I will share it. I have 3 nephews that are in the army, and my wife has 2, and they keep sending us little humoristic videos. Like, that's what they're doing in the army. One of them was 3 times already inside Gaza because the Israeli army is trying to get some information on the people that are hostages where they are, and he's in a very elite unit. So he sent me, President Biden gave probably the most pro-Israeli speech ever in the history of the 75 of Israel, of any other president. By the way, Biden, who is facing an election, should move to Israel. He's going to get 99% of Israelis voting for him. everybody's saying, why do we have such terrible leadership, and we need someone like that. He is loved and adored beyond words. But in his speech that was so overwhelming, he said, if you're thinking to join this fight, more or less, don't. And he repeated the don't, and it was a very strong don't. So the video that I got just before services is of soldiers eating this comfort food that they're getting, and all of a sudden they're hearing don't, and so they stop eating, like, don't eat all this junk food. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
This poem that we're going to sing together really speaks to the beautiful idea that Rabbi shared with us, this underlying idea that we hold in our hands both this terrible sorrow, but also we just ended with this musical laughter that filled the room. None of us here, I think, are untouched by the atrocities that are happening in Israel. I too have many cousins who are there fighting right now. And Naomi Shemer writes these lyrics that we hold all of the sweetness and all of this stinging sorrow together. And commentator Lawrence Jaffe shares this. Al Kol Ele is a perfect example of how Naomi Shemer's deceptively simple lyrics could spawn manifold interpretations. Settlers and the expansionist right adopted it as a battle hymn. They sung it defiantly in 1979 when Menachem Begin's first Likud administration ordered bulldozers to dismantle the Sinai settlement of Yamit in the cause of peace with Egypt. Yet, in 2004, just under 20 years ago, peace activists evoked its other message of respect for nature and humanity when they protested against Israel's demolition of ancient Palestinian olive groves in the West Bank. I pray that the olive groves not only survive but thrive in the whole of Israel, in the whole of the Middle East, in the whole of the world. Please join me on your song sheet. Al hadvash ve'al ha'oketz, al hamor ve'hamotok, al pitenu ha'tinoket, shmorei li ha'tov, al ha'esh ha'mevoeret, al ha'mayim ha'zakim, al ha'ish hashav habayta min ha'merchakim. All hadvash ve'al ha'oketz, al hamar ve'hamotok, al natakor natua, al tishkach et ha'tikva, hashiveni El haaretz hatova, mirashrei shilon baruach, mirachok nosher kochav, mishalot libi b'choshech nirshamot achshav, ana shmor li al kol ele, ve'alahu נפשי על השקט, על הבכי ועוזר השיר על כל אלה, על כל אלה שנראה לי הטוב על הדבש מעל העוקץ על המר והמתוק על נטע כל נטוע אל תשכח את התקווה השיבני והשובה אל הארץ הטובה.
We turn to page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Henry Berg Brousseau, David Sean Bailey, Paula Erdley, Richard Dorsbach, Edward Sag, Lillian Platov Jacobs, Frederick Jacobs, Isabella Gottlieb, Maurice Perlmutter, Hortense Platov Sandow, Irving Goldstein, Harriet Spiegel, Dorothy Wasserman, Harry Klein, Janet Pradhan, Edna Hyman Schuster, Ruth Zucker, Jacob Morris Bliden, Richard Cohen, Henry Frank, Stephen Goodman, Doreen Myers, Ronald Sternberg, Miriam Davidson, Irving Ehrman, Mary Rudd, Anton Dreidel, Ruth Gelfenbein, Rebecca Kahn-Rubin, Martin Kasten, Peggy Lipton, Ivan Marks, Cindy Morgan, Phyllis Siegel, Walter Ziegler, Maurice Foreman, Eugene Frank, Armand Goldstein, Martha Gordon, Josephine Rosenfeld. And in recent days, Helene Katz, Ronald Levine, Richard Wolfe, Wadia Al-Fayoum, Joyce Alexander Walker. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories from our loved ones in our hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמי, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה וריחו, לעילם עם כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה. May the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is the national Jewish anthem, the national anthem of the Jewish state of Israel, Atikva. The words are in your handouts. Please remain standing for the singing of Atikva. יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אמותינו, שתוליכנו לשלום, ותצעידנו לשלום, ותשמחנו לשלום. May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, that we be guided on the paths of shalom, of well-being and wholeness and peace, that we always be protected from all harm and evil on our way. Bless the work of our hands, and grant us grace, loving kindness, and compassion in your eyes, in the eyes of every person that sees us. Adonai Shalom, Adonai, that one of your names is Shalom, peace. Bless your people Israel with a Shabbat of Shalom. Shalom to our bodies, to our minds, to our souls. Please say Shabbat Shalom to someone you never met before, and please join us on a beautiful oneg from the women of Reform Judaism. Shabbat Shalom.